Right, welcome to our New Gambia platform weekly talk show. Today is August 21, 2022. Today we're gonna speak about youth unemployment, and we're also gonna talk about youth involvement in the development of our country. So I have my co-host Sam Cisse from Indiana. Sam, welcome. And my other co-host Alas from Germany, Hanover. Alas, welcome. So Alas, you can go ahead with the discussion. Yeah. You spearhead the discussion for this youth unemployment, and we can tie it to youth involvement as well.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Sawane. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for the people hearing. I think the recording stopped I'm having. Can you hear me?
Yeah, don't worry. It's a space issue. I'm just going to take care of that. Go ahead.
Okay.
Just keep going.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hello, Sam, and everybody. And yeah, it's a very important and interesting topic. When we talk about youth employment, for me, I only try to focus on one part because we don't have youths employed. We have only youth employment, and in that case, I think we have to try to see what we can do better, especially for the youths. But first of all, we have to look at the causes, which I have here just 2 points, which I see that that's our problem in the Gambia. For example, when we talk about the curriculum, which we discussed very often, that we need to change our curriculum. The system is working because it's the same system working since after the colonial system. And when we want to fit the global standard, I think there should have been changes long time ago, which is also affecting our youth today, you can see. Many are lucky, they can go out, graduate, but you could see that most of the time people focus on theories and literature and all. It's not a critic because everybody is having his favorite subject, but these are subjects. I mean, it's very difficult to have a job today. And the second thing I see is the chances the youths have after graduation in the Gambia, for example. Doesn't necessarily mean that after graduation they automatically have a place to work. Because the only employer in the Gambia is the government. How things look like. The private sector help too, but they cannot take all the students pouring out every year. Even Barrow's government cannot do it. And this is a great problem also in the Gambia. And that is also something which I think doesn't give the youths the chance they deserve after graduation. Yeah, I mean, we talk about here very often about the curriculum we're having. Many people are trying to think about what's going wrong there. Why is it not changed? Why do we have a lot of foreign teachers or lecturers instead of Gambians? Because we have Gambians who are even more educated than those people. But they'll have the jobs because maybe the headmaster is also from them, and then so even the Gambians themselves won't have the chance to enter in their own country. And I mean, it's not something like trying to be a nationalist. It's not something like trying to be a nationalist or so. But I feel that it is fair When, for example, Mr. Cisse is having the same qualification as somebody from Freetown, being in the Gambia, I think the Gambians would always try to have more advantage than somebody outside. Anyway, Africa, there is no foreigner. They used to say, as far as you are black, Now, if you see that many countries also try to look first their country people, their countrymen, before any foreigner, that's normal, I think, because that doesn't only have one advantage. The second advantage is Gambians are having the same mentality. They can tell these people something, history about Gambia, a lot of things about Gambia which a foreigner cannot do. So as we are putting more foreigners in these school systems, you'll see that our kids will hardly know something about the country they come from, which is also a big disadvantage. Anyway, the government can do something about it. We need help. When we don't have enough teachers, it's definite. It's not that we are trying to push anybody away or something like that. But I think the youths who are graduated having the same standard or level of education as other foreigners, they should be put in first, so that we can reduce our own unemployment than adding more to it. And many people used to say also, yeah, today because the youths, they all go to internet and playing with their handies and, most of them are just hanging around in Facebook and so people should stop the youths from that, But for me, I'm just saying it's very good that the youths even know what is computer because that is world standard, that they know what is social media, that is world standard, and they cannot be pushed back. The only important thing is that they try to learn how to use these tools. That is the most important thing. The whole world is using Facebook for other purpose. The whole world is using WhatsApp for another purpose. But when I see, it's unfortunate when I see our people, either we use it for politics or we use it to quarrel, which is very sad to see online. Because of what? Because we don't know how to use this tool. Many people are using this tool making millions. That means making more than what somebody who is graduated is even getting. But Gambians don't see this point. We don't use it for that. We don't use it for other purposes. Apart from quarreling, insulting each other, politics, and so on. So that means one should not say that they should not use Facebook or use the modern technique, but they have to use it reasonably. I think that's where our problem is. Because we cannot push the youths back to tell them, no, you should not go to internet. And so we should be even happy that they are smart to go that far. The only thing is they have to use it reasonably. And that's my point here. We should support them. I'm one of the people who is also online. I'm one of the people who even started Facebook nonsense there. Those days nobody heard about it, but we were using it even that time for a purpose. That our classmates try to meet at one point that we can meet together, or people whom you don't see maybe years from the school time. Then was the possibility to meet such people one time and talk with them. And so that was Facebook. There was nothing like politics or business even in Facebook or something. So it was for another purpose, useful purpose those days. But now it has changed. But still we have to also go with the flow. So when the youths are going with the flow, it's very good. But if I look in Facebook or in other platforms, and I see what Gambians are doing, it's always different from what other countries are doing. You understand? Because many people use it to make money. And you can make a lot of money when you use it. but we are not using it for that purpose. That's unfortunate. What I wanted to say in this point is that the government should also try to see the centers where these youths can be trained. We discussed this here also a lot of occasions, and we talk about what the German people even try to help the youths there to try, and the returnees to try to catch up on their lives and so. I would like to know how far they even go, because most of these projects sometimes they'll just say they start and then it will come one day in the newspaper and that's it, and the money is gone. Nobody even try to control where it is or anything. That's normal, and that is also a problem in our society. And these are things the government is responsible always. So also try to make sure everything goes its way. You understand? Yeah, and try to help these youths with these training centers, and try to help them also when they finish, not just say training, because what's the use of training somebody and you don't give him afterwards something to start? So that means the training is losses. His time is also being lost because he spent it for something which he has no future. So where is the progress here? If I am doing such projects, I have to make sure that immediately after or even before they finish, I already give them the chance for the next chapter, you know? And that is what is failing in our Gambia, you can say. You know, even the people who graduate sometimes, when I see them in Facebook celebrating, I always say sorry. Sorry that they don't have anything in the Gambia. Either they stay where they graduated and work, but the problem of going to Gambia and having a good post for their qualification, that is the next problem they are going to have. You understand? And everybody knows that. And every year we're having a lot of students pouring out from the universities, you know. And before this group is even having jobs, the next group is already there. So that means that is just multiplying, and the government should take action, because if not, all their education is for nonsense, which is very sad. All their time and energy, they cannot help in the country development. When we talk about the youth, the national development, what can the youth do? They can only do something when the chance is given, and that is also a problem. The government didn't give them chance, so we cannot see what the youth can even do or help in the Gambia. Because before they can help in national development, you have to give them the chance. You understand? So that's my point anyway. But I don't agree to say that we stop the youth from using handies or using the social media or something like that now, because we have to meet the world standard, you know. And what they are doing also, playing with this thing in internet, using it unreasonably, that is also not world standard, because you can see what other countries are doing with this. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Alas, for that insight. Sam, what is your take on youth unemployment and then youth involvement?
Yep, thanks, Alice. Thank you for your time and all that good insight that you just gave about youths. So really appreciate it as usual. Thank you for that. When I look at youths and I talk about youths and think about them, I think really deeper, and I'd like to go from a foundation standpoint until the end, because in every country, the country and the government need to have programs for the youths. So the programs start with what I call the foundation. In anything, if you don't build a strong foundation, even building a house, you've got to have a strong foundation for you to have a good house. Same thing when it comes to the youths. We need to have a very strong foundation for our youths, for them to become something, set them up to succeed and not set them up to fail. And this is why I always say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And unfortunately, our country did not have a good plan for youths. That's why a lot of them fail. So yes, we cannot blame everything on the government, and I understand that. The government has its own responsibilities to take, and people have their own individual responsibilities, and also be able to look at what path do they want to take for their future. So when I think about youths, I think about, so what is the foundation? I want to start with foundation. What is the foundation for youths? We have kids going to school. And I remember when we talk about education, and I've made audios about this a couple of years ago as well. Education is very important. You know, we need to have a very good education system, which lays the foundation for our kids to be able to brighten their futures from having a good foundation from primary education going up to the middle education, meaning high school. And from high school, what plan does the government have for the youths? Because every year we should have thousands of them coming out of high school and thousands of them going into high school. So there should be a plan for the people coming out of high school. Not every one of them is going to have a scholarship to go somewhere and study abroad or overseas anywhere. Not every one of them will have a chance to go to Gambia College or Gambia University either. So what is the plan? You know, that plan is where the government need to use the Ministry of Education to set up a good plan for these people where they can go. And one of those Alice talked about, you know, skill centers. Skill centers are good. We do have the GTTI, which is a good setup for Gambians. It's just not enough. There's GTTI, and when GTTI was set up and back in the days, we should say thanks to that. That is a good setup. However, not everyone gets an opportunity to go to GTTI. We need to have more GTTIs in the country to be able to accommodate those that live over in the urban areas and rural areas. So someone in the Basse area, someone in Khartoum, someone in Kawur, someone in Bansang, all of these people, Georgetown, and going to all the regions, what we used to call the divisions, all the regions need to have skill centers where people in that area don't have to travel to Banjul to go to get a higher education there. Just like how they have high schools, we need to have skill centers and technical schools. Okay, technical schools that kids can go to. Another thing I said in the past is, you know, we can even use our Gambia National Army to recruit youths from high school and take them to the army where they will have opportunities to learn technical skills as well. I'm in Gambia. We build that I won't say strong army, but we'll build that large army. Whether we need them or not, I don't know if we need that many people in the army, because we're not going to fight anybody any war with anybody. Even Senegal can conquer us, our neighboring countries. So we're not planning for a war. All right, we're not planning for a war. The army there is there for an external defense. So why don't we use the army to also help educate the youth by having, you know, and I said this in my previous audios as well. If we have branches in the army and set up correctly and have the right infrastructure for the army, people can get out of high school, youths can get out of high school and join the army and get free education there, since not everyone can afford to go to pay GTTI or go to Gambia College or University. If we make the army as a free educational system by the government that allows youths to go from high school to the army, you enlist in the army, enroll in the army to be able to get other technical skills. And of course, the personal discipline that you're going to get from the army, the moral, the mental, spiritual set, the mindset that you're going to get, and the personal discipline that you're going to have in the army. You could also choose to take different fields while you're in the army. So high school students can go in the army if they have a branch there where they can teach carpentry. They have a branch that teaches masonry, you have electrical department, you have plumbing department, you have interior decoration and painting, for example, you have roofing, you have tiling. I mean, you have ceilings. I mean, all of these departments in there, and you have all of, just to name a few, not all of them, I didn't mention all of them, but just a few basics that the youth can use after school to be able to help themselves, either open a business, go to the bank and get a loan and open a business and do something. But learning those in the Army and take about 2 to 3 years completion in there and get a certificate that certifies you as a mason or certifies you as an electrician, something that certifies you as a plumber, something that certifies you as a, yeah.
I think I have to support you. Exactly what you're saying we are having here in Germany.
Is that right?
Some they even do their driving license in the army, just because they want to go there and then land that.
Yeah.
And you can do so that later you can help yourself. Exactly what you say.
So if they do all of that and come out of the army with their certification, and that certificate will serve like let's say it's an associate degree. They have an associate degree from the army. All right. That associate degree is something that they're going to use. Not only they're going to be in the army just to learn the theory part, they're going to have practicals. And I've said this in the past. I said, God forbid, I said this a couple of years ago, God forbid, if there's a strong storm, if there's a heavy rains that cause damage to people, this army team that are in the Army Technical Training School that are learning different fields can be used because the government is giving to them for free as scholarship just by enrolling in the Army, free education for them. Then the government can say, all right, Caravan School has been demolished by the rain. So how about the masonry department, go build them a school, all right? How about the roofing department, you go put the roof in. Plumbers go do the plumbing. This is their practical. They use those as their practical. Go do plumbing. Again. Electricians can do the wiring practicals in there. And all of these fields do their carpenters can build new chairs for them and tables or desks for them. They can do those as their practicals. Every time there's a disaster, even if there's not a disaster, government in every region can identify schools that are in very poor conditions and use the Army training team, give them a budget that is going to be approved by the National Assembly, and say, use this budget to be able to buy the materials that you need, tools and materials you need. And every year they pick a region that they will go to and renovate a school or bring a school up to standard, school that is in a very poor condition, bring them up to standard by building them a new school. This is the practical that these people are going to gain from that. So not only they're doing the theory in class, but they're also going out in the field. Everyone is practicing. And the masons are building, roofers are doing the roofing, tile men are doing the tiling, the painters are painting the building, plumbers are plumbing the toilets and all the facility plumbing needs there. I mean, you carpenters are doing all of that can be done. So not only they're learning in school, in the Army, they are going out physically every year. This should be an ongoing thing. Every year or every 6 months, they have practicals. The practicals need to be done in the field where it's needed the most. That way, no expense to that school, since schools don't have a whole lot of budget. School teachers are not very well paid. Principals are not very well paid. The little fund that they get from school really cannot build them a good structure like that. But the Army should be able to do that. Now, by the time these people finish that, and can you imagine they graduate 3 years later, even if it's 4 years, they graduate, let's say 3 years later from the Army, they decide to discharge from the Army, or it's time to discharge from the Army. By the time they discharge, I guarantee you a lot of them will go take loans and open up welding workshops, carpentry, building, construction, all kinds of things.
They have their profession.
They help, yeah, exactly. They're going to be able to stand on their own and be able to do all of that for themselves. And not only that, they will grow and hire more people, because you know why? The government is also going to look at them. Instead of looking at outsiders to give them contracts, you look at the insiders, the people that built that school, in different regions, and say, all right, we have a building contract. We have plumbing contract. We have electrician contract. Let's use our own people, give them the contract, sponsor those people, let them go do that work. So now this is going to encourage a lot of youth to enroll in the Army because they get free education, right? Number one. Number two, by the time they come out, they're ready to go on their own, whether employed by the government or not. They are ready. They're stable. They've learned this in school, not like back in the days we went to school. We learned metalwork and woodwork in school, those two things. By the time we come out, we know the theory, we passed the exam, but we really haven't had a whole lot of practice. We have not even built a chair. You know, I took woodwork in school. I took metalwork in school, but I could not even build a chair, just alone, just like that. But, you know, so those who are there, this will be the next level. From high school or senior secondary schools, they will go to the Army and learn these and really master it, be able to get themselves so efficient and proficient in what they do to be able to stand on their own. So this is how one of the ways to create employment for youth and be able to help them to sustain and be able to do it themselves. And the few that have the opportunity to go to college and universities or even scholarships to go abroad and study, give them the opportunity to come back. Because one of the things I also said, I'm going to wrap this here. One of the things I also said was, any country that really wants to build a strong economy, one of the things that you must do is employ the youth. Because when you employ the youth, you have a good educated labor force. These are people that went to colleges and university and studied, and now you allow them to come back and use what they study into the country, give them the opportunity to show them what they can do. So an educated labor force is one of the key ingredients to really grow an economy, because they are the people that are going to come in and say, you know what we're doing is old fashioned. We're going to move from pen and paper to electronic. This is how we're going to do it. The youths are the ones that are going to come with that creativity and innovation and bring that into the government and change things and move people from pen and paper to the electronic system to bring more growth in the success of development of any country. So I'll stop here for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow, you
Thank
both.
you have the best ideas. In fact, these are the projects what the government should do, and then try to, because if you look at it, your ideas, it's a win-win. Everybody is going to win at the end. The government, the youths, and everybody will be okay.
Yep.
But what we are doing now is, when we have projects, we even have to go and hire somebody outside, foreigners, things like that.
Yeah.
They take all the dollars here and go away.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's it. So I don't know.
And if you think about this, when the government does something like that, the government, I've spoken about this also in the past, the government can have their own maintenance department. Don't pay these outside people. Don't pay these foreigners to do things for you. Train your own people. Give them the opportunity to stand alone and be ready to do anything. Have our own maintenance people. So every department, every ministry will have their own maintenance department, where they will also be employing these youths from those colleges. So if the Royal Victoria Hospital, let's say what is it called now, RVTH, if RVTH needs some painting, because there's a lot of rusted materials in there, there's a lot of dirt stuff in there, then you call the maintenance department from that department. And these are the people that went to the Gambia Army and studied painting. They know the job very well. You just bring the maintenance department, they come and paint the whole building. They can scrape everything down, sandpaper, do everything, and apply all the mastic or stockafila, whatever that is, sandpaper, smooth, and then paint. And it will be a brand new building again. So our VHTH will be maintained by our own maintenance people rather than spending millions for something that costs thousands.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Alas.
An example here. Thank you, Sam. I give an example here from how our government here is doing that. When people are engaged in the army and do their trainees and all,
Yep.
and then they have to just sign. For example, like when you finish, you still be a standby. You call it reservist. for 3 years or something like that. There's no problem because nobody is going to tell you that there is going to be a war. But many young people here use it and find their way. They do their license and all these things, and they save the money because they don't need to pay themselves. So it's the attraction there. And what you're saying is damn right when our government can do it. And I just wanted to add something to it. That means when they even finish from the army, they have the skills. Going out, the government can make a program to give them micro credits. You understand? Which they are going to pay back. So with this micro credit, they can start their own business and try to pay that money back. This money is not gone because these people are going to give it back to the government. It's just to give them the way. I think that is going to help the youth also.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So I would talk in local languages for the benefit of those who probably would not be able to speak English or who couldn't.
Yeah.
So mbadi mo mbalbe konton na program o yinto alas ning sam yemen futeng menketa na youth solti ila doku kunyal ani ka involve into development. So come like Gambia la population of Benjamin to fongol be alone ko youth sol le siata sign namara 60 plus ninke mo kono tanworo bula obemu youth sol leti. So that means when for common youth la ila doku ko ani ila involvement or development of important tabakel. But saying men fo nyinin kala men na mune youth sol ti mune keno ani masakunda se mune keno wala na samning alas any idea na ta puka ka military role nisi enroll no into the military ka fengol fanan karamen keta skills solti like dokul menisi keno ela ibulola wara isi men keno mecholte will be important tale because will be dokul dila mollal. But nde ngamen jije nina da Gambia la po moti amanke ko ideal bijele siaga back. Ideal to ban. The problem is ntolmang way le soto. We don't have a way to operate like nyami. Monsilo le soto. Andung ninga memuta mbuka patient soto puruka continue kake. Dolka left le bi ngake bi ngadomo.
Yeah.
Mbuka pare puruka time invest ka fengo bula I develop mbuka vision soro ntol short vision muna sikeno bi nga fesu bi wara ngam fango ngana resource soro so nyine gambe non wala ntol batande ninga tara nga vision soro in anything business lembang akaran lembang amunem for I time ta follow dana be developer dana be no chola dana be kila after kula mi alon ko sa start ka benefit from it. So ntolmang vision soro number 1 ti man patient financial. Number three my attitude financial na attitude towards things among consistent e come to a moment na I'm confused because munam ninga let's say ningo jang restaurant yele wo business can do it. Once more clear ke more bake faye. So it's not like everybody has to do restaurant business. Business Jamal Beji, many alonko you can tap into that. Well na ale indida mankile. Puru alase jamuta, same jamuta, pate jamuta. So ning diversified the new needs soul midlare. Bantol we are mostly focused on alasi menken tebo wala kala na nos neken tebo wala kala na engineer neke bo wala kala to become ko jele and after makedoni bukana work because a lot of gaps wala kataraje men buka feel so na attitude nanto wo falling na bakal na attitude falling towards a visionary mentality, consistent. Nga tara consistent nga memuta nga dango bondi. Then finjamal be solve la. Wokono government fana na load la nanta lola jele. Yeah, government bogana physically pour que jobs will create. But government asilo le babu. Many along ko as job creation as a son and no nyami. Doku suro suro no nyami. Many company men nanta doku kala and in private sectors will see silo suro no nyami. Pour que doku create. Government ko loophole will create. Ako silo liya. Nide kida government me along ko iti mang economical and mentality fonsudo. Alla system, alla government kono. Atul ka muneke budget o kanal aliyo exhaust before budget domina. Alman plan soro. Alman mentality soro me along ko investors so albe encourage la nyami. Pure na banko kang. A very good project kije. A very good assessment dealer. Albe tax la nyami. Albe I make sure that like Allah banko will be profit on nyami. Nite mo mentality si fasuro as a government. Ani mo negotiating power soro. Mul sinano the companies will ina yaldo ye kuke yala let's say fishery. Ye jeta ya business okije in a way that about affect land instead of abe la promo solve. So we see fala muntola promo di ntol mang ko na government mantra lu portal close kan pour ñi kamala banko la na fulo assisté no ñame ni investor nada e mantra also investor encourage kan because ni be investor encourage kan Gambia dingo men fon be banta a lot of them want to invest te male be diaspora me alongo will be il have to invest bari kam ne wori ni dara ni contract ko ni ta sur la government because mona government see pare ka contract ko di monto la men yanon ko man Gambia because they want to get kickbacks ibe menso la all bol Gambia dingo maybe at a son up for ojo so we see falem ñun mol bu ka encourage pour investment okay so mona kanake ito kana investment okay dam to wala kake ibe dam at the end of the day they will stay abukata back home so ñinel mu po moti mi alon ko employment ko jama ko lende not only Gambia no nanta skill set da male karana pour que unemployment solve but government nanta looks also men yelela negotiating power pour que investor ke encourage will importantly diaspora fanang inati encourage la pour invest because ni investor je ibe Gambia ngolel ibe wolel higher wolel be do ko kelaje and we unemployment no aba atalala yo dol fanang another area na banko dul nanta wol remind la men na wala nanta na banko dul fana yalon ko kata karam moto alone is not everything nitara karam moto iba jibenale areas men fana yalon ko ya karam pour ñi kamala ni nada isa apply kada ka bukota ka dundi kun kono ka be kram kana si helping that thinking that we could no while you are in school think about what you can use this education for understand what is very important and focus on areas fana me yalon ko ni jita kala modo is doku wosudo no nabero fana mo another area and be parentol fana nanta creative la Gambia no one of the areas me along more comprehensive well creativity in kan tolkala file fengo nan tolka dul bukala fi we think outside the box nasi ngam mira fenna me along ko amon sodo no bari nga create tolkala file everything moy na mbulo muta atande na akonyiko nyinka ketane and then once you wait for that nalman creative altitala no fal bukaje on Facebook and other social media mulka muto dira yeah kaji guys some Ghanaians and fenko mulka muto dira ka fenko they create stuff katapila ndingol and so forth we didn't know men ko okay ikamunike ikasile mira and they do it on a little things mini alonko ibuka order from anywhere from the materials ikamembondi danda wala je So you want to tell me that, like creativity mental African?
Sawane, there I have to support your speech. You talk about this creativity, like the Ghanas, you say. You see this robot on Mars now. You hear about it or you saw about it? There is one robot on Mars, on the planet.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this thing is from a Ghanaian. This man is from Ghana. Just that the NASA, that's why people are criticizing it. Why is the NASA not making that popular? Just because he's a black man. So they try to hide him at the back and try to show their chest. It's better that way. But he is from Ghana. So that is showing you that Africans are not stupid. We people have skills. In Gambia, many youths are having these skills. So that's why my point was try to help these people so that they can even use their skills for themselves and for the country. You understand?
Exactly.
I support your point. Sorry for breaking you.
So Willem, coming Alaska man for Willem, ako Robert Mayalonko is in the mass, can you create. So coming for Willem, just into the creativity ni nanta wo focus la come back na see nkamira kula many alonko as a development or samana. And after do some research on it. We'll be more quality attitude la nanta style la KGB. But other than that, in terms of Gambian, employment in the Gambia, in the government can, because government is just will be politicizing that. They're not too focused on unemployment. So nanta menkela walem citizen soul family, we become creative, innovative. In the school, na area soul study mini alonko, they can earn us jobs. Nga menkarang nga make sure ka apply no. Thirdly, let's also make sure that like we involve a lot in businesses, because business ventures you cannot go wrong with that. And even more employed, but at least you keep on employing now, and you will be able to sustain your own needs. So that I just want to throw that there in local language. Hopefully that works.
Thank you very much. You didn't say all, but I think the most important thing you already explain it. That's okay.
So youth involvement. I mean, we could just hit on that.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it already because Sam said it already. Because the only projects we need is that the government try to take action. Because even if the youths are qualified or graduated, without the support of the government to give them something in the hand, how can they help in the development of the nation? You understand? If you need them, you have to give them the skills. You have to give them after qualification, give them something to practice so that they can benefit the country and themselves. It's always the same procedure. But when the government didn't take step, don't blame the youths. Because when they can even have PhD. When they come to Gambia, don't have any chance, to do something for the country. You cannot blame that person. You can always blame the government who didn't give them the chance to develop their skills, which is going to benefit them and the country also. Then you can talk about national development. But when you take a youth without job, without anything, you see him sitting on the street somewhere, you say, okay, how can we develop the country? You don't give him anything to develop the country. You don't give him any chance. So you cannot blame that person. You even rob him the chance because you failed to plan for them, and they deserve it as citizens. And they did their job. And some they even left the Gambia. They went for studies and something like that. So when they come back and don't have any chance, because the Gambia, the chances are limited. I used to repeat it always here. That's why the government should be very, very, very creative, because it's the only employer there. if you look at it. And then he cannot be changing people like clothes.
But Salas, if government is the only employer, now the same government is saying that we don't create jobs. We open loopholes. So how controversial is that? You want to become a employer, but at the same time, when people squeeze you on unemployment, you say, oh, we don't create jobs, because the president himself told me that on a personal level. I was sitting next to him. He told me that the government just open ways for businesses, but they don't create jobs. But now you're saying that the government are the employer.
Yeah.
So how controversial is that?
No, he's the biggest employer. That's why I tell you that, and his chances are very limited, because that's why they need to be very, very creative to make sure that they can employ every year with students, graduates coming. You understand?
No, what I'm saying, this area is.
But they are the employer, because
the government is the employer. In what sense, though?
Because look, I think 90% of employers in Gambia, if you ask them where they're working, they are working for the government. We have unfortunately such a country.
But
from the private sector,
the government don't see that as what is causing the unemployment. The government is saying the people that are in the civil service, they don't look at that. Okay, they're looking at employment problem is on private or the other citizens, because remember, not too many people are in civil service. If you take out of the population, it will be more, I don't know, on the single digits population. I mean percentage wise.
That's why I say from the private sector. If you look at these business people doing business or other jobs, or even working for the Lebanese and all this, they are not directly civil servants,
exactly.
So, but in the Gambia, this tradition was there since after the colonial time. If you have a good salary, a good work, was from the government. Either you are a clerk, you are a post office man, or any other. This tradition was there. That's why I said this old system, we need to change it long time ago, not today. So even some people, you see them studying here, graduation, PhD. When they come to Gambia, where are they going to? Just to be real, where are they going to when they come to the Gambia after their PhD?
Yeah,
they go to the government and look for job.
Yeah,
just that the government cannot be giving job every year, because when these positions are
anytime a government become a job giver, then that's where we fail.
That's why I said this needed to be changed.
Because right now, look at
imagine we can correct that if we take Sam's idea, for example.
Yeah. So let me get in. Let me come in here for a minute.
That's the way to change it.
Yeah. So yes, the government. We are talking about Gambia, so let's talk about Gambia. If I look at Gambia being such a small country, I don't know that there's any employer in the Gambia that has more employees than the government. I don't think so. So,
but that's where we fail.
But no, hold on. Well, not necessarily. I disagree with that. This is why we look at records. This is why we have record keeping. You look at your record. You look at your numbers. If I am a government, just like I said earlier, the government need to create the avenue by creating all of those opportunities for people to go and be able to grow and go through the army and learn all those skills that I said and come out. When they come out, they don't necessarily have to be employed by the government. The government had given them at that point the avenue to be successful. They can go work for themselves. They can go work for the government. So the government's role in any industry, when you have labor, is the most expensive thing, cost for any place. In other words, labor is always more expensive. So if the government sees that, in Gambia, for example, and I know this is probably the case there, I'm not quite sure, but I know that the government pays a lot of money for expenses that are paid to outside companies to do certain things for us. Things that should cost us thousands are costing us millions. Now, if I was in the government, say if I were the president, I'm going to think, you know what? I'm going to take this advice that Sam Cisse is giving, creating this avenue through the army and have these people go through all of that so that when it's time to renovate the government buildings, when it's time to build a new structure for the government, I'm going to use my own people. It will save me more money, even if it means hiring 1,000 more people and pay them, put that 1,000 more people, youths on my payroll as a government, and that 1,000 people, putting them on the payroll to work for the government and do all the repairs in all the government buildings. You're talking electricians, the plumbers, the masoners, you name it, the welders, the carpenters, and you name all of these that we pay outsiders. So if the government look at their records and see that, let's say the past 5 years, they spent $300 million in maintaining our own buildings. All right. To these outside contractors that may be foreigners. If they see that $300 million that got paid onto labor for them to do that, and they can take 100 million, employ Gambians, 1,000 people will cost 100 million, then I'll pay 100. I'm going to go ahead and hire more people, employ our own youths that are already trained, and they are trained professionals that can do this job, and pay 100 million to them to be able to also support their families, then giving 3 millions to an outside firm to do that job. So to the government, that's a win-win situation. Number one, they cut their expenses from paying 3 million to others, and now they added their labor force by hiring Gambians and give them 1 million more, $1 million to be able to maintain their own and save the money, save all of that cost that you're giving to foreigners. Give it to your own people by hiring more people. And they are going to, because the maintenance of a facility, or of every facility, every government building, every hospital, every police station, every school in the Gambia, boy, that's a lot of money to maintain them. We either going to maintain them or we leave them to be all raggedy or dilapidated or all fall apart. So maintaining is the key, because we have youths and we have kids coming from elementary school growing up that needs to use these schools and colleges. We have people that need to use the hospitals every day. We have police officers that don't even have a bathroom, a good bathroom. All right. We have hospitals with a lot of cobwebs, with a lot of broken stuff, with a lot of, some don't even have a good drawer for a patient to put their stuff in. We've seen videos with drawers with cockroaches in it, cleaning material. We can have our own people. Government just need to create the avenue and think outside of the box. If you don't want to be the largest employer, well, create the avenue for people to be able to take that avenue. But also look at your cost, do cost analysis. Does it cost you more to pay outsider to do certain things than when you hire your own people, have your own maintenance department that will do all these renovations and maintenance of all government facilities? Boy, if I look at that and balance them and I see that I'm going to pay more, and I've been paying more for outsiders, I'm going to stop that. Cut down the expenses, give it to Gambians, let them do. If that means hire more people, I will hire more people. That's how you analyze things. So they need to be more cost efficient. All right.
Oh, thank you. Something like that, we had it before. I don't know whether many people know about it. Maybe many young people don't know about it. But Gambia was having public works department, PWD at Afdai. Can you remember that? Maybe in your childhood also.
Yeah.
Many Gambian parents were working there, and they were highly paid people, and then they were doing everything, carpentry, automation, everything. And for government services, government can save money because they get that. In turn, they have their salaries always from the government. So the government can do certain projects also without giving out money. You understand? So it's the same idea what you have now. Yeah, PWD, I don't know whether it's even
Well,
existing. Many people
yeah,
don't know that it was there.
right. You're right. I remember PWD, and we also have GPPA in Gambia, which is Gambia Public Procurement Authority, that is not following the rules. And I once said they need to be dissolved. Let's bring the right people that are going to do the right thing, because they have contracts that they've designated or awarded to people that did not go through the right channels, number one. And number two, they are picking the most expensive, spending more money on most
Contractors.
expensive stuff that when they are least expensive and you still have that quality work. So they're not doing their job right. All of those are there. So
Are they
that's
not
why I
being
said,
controlled?
yep.
What they are doing?
Oh,
Are they,
I don't see who's controlling them. I don't know, because there has been so many nonsenses. And one time I heard a vehicle replacement was done somewhere when a vehicle that caused I don't know, I can't remember the whole fact, but there was something. This is true. There was something about a vehicle that the government purchased for a certain amount of money, but the paperwork and the record keeping was not done correctly, because the whole system didn't go right. So they do all of that. There's a lot of nonsense in Gambia, a lot of nonsense that really need to be cut out. So
yeah, these are
yeah.
the problems we have. I think Mr.
That's what we are here to.
Better
That's what
is-
we are
yeah,
here. That's
but
what
we,
we are
Yeah,
here
that's what we're here to talk
to
about, so that they can
address.
hear
yeah,
us.
yeah, I
Address.
know, but
The probably might not be fix it, but we can address it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, we can talk about them for them to hear, and knowing that when they hear us, they know that we know about it. We are not the problem solvers. We can only talk. We're not the one in action, because if I was in action today, I was in Gambia today, if I was the president today, oh, a lot of things will change. A lot of things will change overnight.
What do you
Overnight,
think?
because there's not going to be any nonsense. You do a nonsense, you're out of a job.
Or
I'm
would
gonna set the example.
I think Sam, when you are the president today, I think most of them will climb over the fence and go to Senegal.
Climb over the fence. Absolutely.
No.
Some people will abscond, will leave
He
the
said-
country and go somewhere, because that nonsense is going to stop. It's really going to stop.
I think so.
What I'm asking Sam is that he said that a lot of things would change. Would a lot of things change, Sam, if you were president today?
Okay.
I
Would
believe
a lot of
some
things
can
change?
Say that again. Say that again. I didn't hear what you said. You were broken.
So you were saying that if you were president today, you would change a lot of things.
Yes.
So I am reversing that the same question to you. Would a lot of things change you if you were president today?
Well, a lot of things changed me. I don't know. Well, from what I know, doing the right thing, following the rules and following the books, nothing is going to change me from following the books. No, no way. No one, I'm not going to encourage anybody to corrupt me, number one, because corruption is the biggest thing.
That's it. That's the weakest point.
That's the biggest.
Don't start it.
I am not going to. I want to set the example. I want to lead by example. That way I can hold everyone accountable. So following the rules, as long as it's about the rules in government and or governance and administration, I am not going to let that happen. I'm going to use the knowledge and experience that I have. And I think I do have, I'm not perfect. I'm a human being like everybody else. And I'm not comparing myself to anybody. I'm just telling you what I know. So what I know, there's a lot of nonsense in Gambia that if I were in charge, it would not happen. I can guarantee 100%, because when that nonsense happens, I'm going to put you in handcuffs and put you where you belong. Just like that.
You know, sometimes they say that you don't know until you get there. So
well,
I mean, all of past leaders has they said great things. They could swear to everything, but as soon as they get there, things become worse.
Well, so, yeah, but Sam said that here, not that I'm supporting him. Sam said here a very important point. He is not going to be corrupted at first, and that's the most important thing.
That's
being a president in Africa.
Yeah.
Don't take any money for your good.
Exactly.
Because once the cartel get you, no chance. Because they have to, because
you
they
in,
rule the
you in.
country, not you. Then they rule the country, not you. Because when then they always tell you, then you have to give us the money back, and you don't want to give it.
Yep.
They can do what they want. You are not going to say anything.
Yeah.
They get your head.
And the other thing is the mindset, the vision, the mindset. What mindset do you have? What is your vision for the country as a leader? If you go in there to make money yourself, well, you're wrong. You have a wrong mindset. But if you go in there and say, I don't want your money, I'm here to do the right thing for the country.
So
I want to see
I have a question for both of you. I have a question for both of you.
Okay.
Lately, we have a migration of people from the Gambia, basically to Europe, United States, and other areas, just to supplement that unemployment issue that is happening. Do you think it's a good idea for people to start continue to migrate in search of greener pastures?
Well,
or do you think we should consider not traveling? And
well, I mean, we've got to ask the reality. The truth is, why are we all here? You are sitting in New York. I'm sitting in Indiana. Alice is sitting in Germany. Why are we all here?
Why are we all here?
This include us. That's what I'm saying.
Right. That's why I want to start with us. I want to start with us. Why are we all here? Because what we're doing here is something we could not get in our own country. That's why we're here. If we could get that in our own country, we will stay there, right? If we had the foundation, we have the training, the education that we got here in Gambia, then maybe we would have stayed there and do the same thing there, right? But we didn't have.
In other words, we don't have the facility, the environment.
Well, it's not only environment. There's a lot of things that the structure, the infrastructure, the skill set, the whole nine yards. Because, for example, you know, I know we were talking about creativity, you know, and I'm going to get into, I'll give you an example. If someone wants to be creative with computers, for example, just with a laptop, you know, you first need to know how to use a laptop before you can be creative with a laptop. If you get a laptop, you can identify your keys on the laptop, A, B, C, D, all the way to Z. You know how to use the laptop. You once type the letter and on the laptop and print it, and it comes out. And then you realize, oh, this is great. Now I'm not going to anybody else to write me a letter, right? I'm going to be able to write a letter for myself. Oh, I'm going to think outside of the box. There's a lot of people in Gambia that don't know how to write a letter. They don't have the facility or capability and the tools, the laptop and a printer. They don't know that all you need is a laptop and a printer to be able to type a letter and print it out yourself. But they don't know how to use the keyboard. They don't know how to put words together. So it starts with that foundation. That's why I started with foundation. They have to have a foundation that the government put in place first for them to be able to do that. So once they get that foundation and they know now how I can type, and then you realize I'm living in a town where no one can even use a typewriter or a computer, you can say, okay, I am going to be creative here. I am going to find a place that I can rent, okay? Or I can use half of my house and build a little office there, use my computer and my printer and type letters for people. When I type letters for people, they pay me. So anybody that needs to type a letter or anybody that needs to type anything, you come to me, I'm going to type it for you and then print it and hand you your paper. You do not need to go to anybody else. Now that person become creative by doing that and now earning income out of it. Afterwards, he's going to say, well, there's a demand. There's more demand in this. I'm going to get a second laptop. And another laptop, and another laptop. Then I'm going to hire somebody else. I'm going to train someone else how to do the same thing. That works for me, that I pay, right? And that is creating a job for people, but you're also increasing your income because there's a demand in that. So the creativity comes after you get the foundation in most cases. There is only 1 in a million in this world that somebody sits in their garage and think, even without going to school, can think they want to start something and it makes it successful and becomes a millionaire in the world. Not very many people. You don't see very many people. Like I said, 1 in a million. you will see that. So that is
but you
not.
you have it every day in Europe, America.
Yep, it's happening.
But it's difficult. It's difficult in Gambia, as
It's
Sawane said.
difficult in Gambia.
We don't understand to
Because we don't
patience,
have the foundation.
The foundation, patience, the understanding of business. You know, to give business time, because we understand you have to plant it, the seed today and harvest tomorrow.
We know it. Gambians do that.
So and these are that's why. So no Gambian will sit in the garage and waste years there and hoping to be. In fact, the environment itself, they will not give you the chance, because then they'll say you hear people talking about you. Oh, Sam is just wasting his time. You know, because they are seeing something different again. Because what they know traditionally, as I explained here, you go for studies. You go back to the Gambia, you employed, you wear your necktie and going 9 to 5, and then you at the end you are a you go to pension. This was the tradition since colonial time. So if you are doing anything out of this path, people will call you crazy. Why? Because they don't understand it. You know what you want. So that means you have to get resistance, because you hear a lot of nonsense in your environment because they are being irritated because you're doing something different. You understand? So once you get that in your head and know that, okay, nobody can move you out of your plan, then you can hit the point. But alone, Gambia, you can do it, but not within Gambia. I can advise you that.
Well, you're correct to some extent. You know, the environment is there, but someone that really has a vision and want to focus on their future, they want to focus on it. They want to do something, regardless of what people are going to say. They're going to do what they're going to do until people see the results. When people see the result, that's when they say, "Oh, I want to have a tailoring workshop because this lady has a tailoring workshop."
Because they didn't ask Sam.
And now she's driving a Mercedes Benz, so they want to get into tailoring without.
But it's normal. You see that every day. But they didn't ask Sam what he went through to go to that point. They only see the iceberg of things, but not what's underneath.
Not exactly
what Sam
got
went
there.
through. Again, I'll come back to Mr. Sawane. Your question. I just wanted to answer my part 2.
Yes.
Sam said, "Okay, why are we here?" You know, I think that answers almost everything. Why? Because I would start saying there is nothing better than home. Nobody wants to or likes to leave his home, his family, and go and risk a life in somebody's country and work there and develop somebody's country's development. You understand? Who likes that? What diasporans are doing for other countries. I used to say that myself. We are only building the other countries' development, not ours. So why can't we not go to Gambia and do it? Why? Because there is no hope for these people.
So are you saying that the Gambian people are not welcoming?
Not in that particular way. You can say it economically not welcome. And I used to say that before also. I used to say Gambia is not yet prepared for diasporans. I used to say that since Jammeh left.
Why?
Why? Because if you go now to Gambia, Mr. Sawan, I mean, everybody cannot.
Nobody is going to chase me away.
No, everybody is not going to to compare the salary you receive today that you hope to have that in the Gambia. You can have a standard way of living that will be okay because we are sacrificing. But I just wanted to tell you that even to have a position there
is a problem.
That's the problem, yeah. That's the problem.
There's not enough.
Either you are blocked politically.
There's not enough position because the only hire is the government. And
the only hire is the government. It's not Barrow. You always have directors and starting from minister going downwards. You understand? When these people are not ready for you to come in, you go out.
Yeah, because we don't have.
I give you one example without mentioning names. after Jammeh went, many diasporans thought that had that idea.
Yeah, but we
Go
cannot
to
also
Gambia and do something. And now
we cannot also go and push away others that are
yeah, not push away. Some didn't even push anybody away, but they
So,
are being fought that they have to run away.
Yeah, here's
You
the
understand? That's the other point.
Here's the other part. I'll take example for myself. For example, if I leave today and I want to go move back to Gambia, I'm not going to Gambia to go look for a job. I will be going to Gambia to invest and create jobs there. But my problem is they're going to block me from getting my license. Before I get my license, I'll go back and forth before I get it. That's why I said there are so many nonsenses there that if I were the president, this will not happen, because the first time a Gambian citizen come to apply for a license to operate a good business, a legitimate, a bona fide, legitimate business in Gambia, and they get blocked from that, boy, whoever blocks that person, you will not be in that position anymore.
Sam,
that's it.
You don't see that. They don't see that.
Is this something that we can attest to, that people get blocked?
Well, the block it may not be an intentional block. It's a waste of time. If you've been in America, you've been in America for a number of years. Alice has been in Germany a number of years. I've been in America for a number of years. We know how things work. We know what is the reasonable amount of time that you should spend in applying for a permit, right? So if it's going to take me or you a whole week to go back and forth because you went today, whoever needs to sign that permit is not there. Now they told you to come back the next day. The next day you go, they said he's in Ngente. He went to Ngente. All right, a naming ceremony. Then he's not there again. Then when you ask, can somebody else do it? No, he's the only one that does it. That is nonsense. To me, that is
everybody should have an assistant.
That should not be happening.
And then that's when we need to speak up. We need to speak up to the power for that.
That's why we're speaking up now. Yes, we do need to speak up.
But you are not even allowed to vote. What are you going to speak up?
That's like another part.
Well, is it not your country? Is Gambia not your country? You can speak up anywhere. You cannot speak up on the street.
Right. We all have that fundamental and democratic and rights to speak, to do what we want to do, according to the law. However, you know, the nonsense is what needs to stop. I cannot imagine.
I think diasporans, when they go back home, we shouldn't be too much focused on chasing the jobs there. We should be going, you know, to create,
to invest,
to create jobs.
I don't know anyone that went
but
to
even that one, Mr. Sawane,
because it's not also fair. The jobs
Mr.
are not,
Sawane,
it's not also fair. I'm not saying the other job, but government jobs are not many.
I understand. I don't think the diasporans, that was just an example. I don't think the diasporans, I mean, who are well living like you, will go there and fight for a job.
No.
But it's an example. The same thing like investment.
You don't know.
It's the same thing like investment, what Sam said. If you go to invest, and that one, I have my own experience, life experience. I just don't want to throw it here, you know. But I got my experience already.
You have experience. I have experience. But the system,
I have my experience already.
But the system that creates that. That's what
2 weeks, 2 weeks holidays, just going up and down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I have my own experience.
Yeah, but the system. I'll give you an example. I was in my compound, right? They come and cut my meter, my water meter, without notice, right?
Okay.
With the instrument. I told them you're not gonna cut it.
Yeah.
Okay. I stood up. I said I don't have any notice. I don't have any private bill to say that I'm scheduled to be cut off this day.
Disconnected. Yeah.
So it's not gonna happen. It's gonna be a war here. And they called their manager with their trucks. I said it's not gonna happen. They get their big plier. I got I got loaded. But guess what happened? They went back. I said, give me time. I'm gonna come and pay. Oh, this is what you do to everybody in the Gambia. They were like,
Yeah, that's why I said
So,
it's not a nonsense.
the nonsense is what we have to.
It should not go that way.
Well,
It should
and
not
not
go that
everybody
way.
can do what
Just,
you did.
no,
Not
no,
everybody, they can do it, but they're not going to listen to everybody. Because you are from, you are a Malang from America, though they probably looked at you that way and say, don't mess with this guy, you know. But a farmer or someone that has nothing and could not pay their bills.
But if I was in home that day, they would have my little brother or anybody,
exactly.
they would have cut.
Exactly.
So, but this is what I'm saying. We need to speak to power. We need to Gambia. We need to see. This is how we're different from Senegal. This nonsense that you're talking about is our problem.
It is. It's the lack.
But Mr. Sawani, everything starts from where you are not allowed to vote. Then talk about that first.
That's a different ball game. You voting is you come to law and the constitution. That's different. But what I'm saying is that people can speak up to force change. Right now,
so talking about our youth's involvement here, that's one of the things that I wanted to say. Youths need to be involved in politics, for sure. They need to be involved in politics and have strong voice and have voter registration cards to be able to vote. However, what Alice said is true. We are deprived from voting, which should not happen. I mean, I know Americans that are in Gambia that are voting in America. When it's time for election, Americans in Gambia or every part of the world, they all vote. But
we, Senegal and every country,
other countries in diaspora are voting, but we can't vote. So this is all part of the nonsense that I'm talking about. That should stop. This nonsense needs to stop. And there are things that can be done to stop it. But the number one person that can stop this nonsense is the president. Is going to be, president is not. I'm not talking necessarily President Barrow. I'm just saying anybody in the presidential role, in the president's role, when things go well, we say the president. When we go to vote, we vote for the president. But when things go bad, we say the president. That's how it works.
The buck stop on him. The buck stop on. If you're gonna take the heat, get out of the kitchen.
Get out. Yeah, that's it. But the thing is, though, the president having that power is the only one person in the country that no one can get up and fire. President can get up and fire certain people, but no one can get up individually and fire the president. So he has the power, right? There's no individual that can say, Mr. President, you're fired. No, that doesn't happen. All right, so he has the power, the ultimate power to make decisions and be able to say things to make them happen. Is the president. That's why I'm saying the president and whoever is the president really need to be able to help us change some of these things. If not, that's when we all need to get our voter registration cards and go vote to get somebody else in there. And I've said this before too. Yeah, Gambia is 57 years old, and we are 57 years behind time. So we have no time to waste. 1 year, one presidential term in an office for 5 years can be a waste of time for us. We do not want that. We want anybody that gets into that presidency role, the very first day start working, they want pass executive orders that are going to stop some nonsenses. You cannot stop everything, all the nonsense in 1 day, but you can stop some nonsenses in 1 day and move your way up to the last one. Okay, and it all starts with you, the president. That's how it starts. So the president has the ultimate power to stop some of the things, and I understand not everyone that gets into the presidency role have experience in everything. And that's when you surround yourself with the people that have experience in other areas that you don't know, so they can advise you to do that. If you pick the wrong advisors, you're still not going anywhere, because you're even better than your advisor. If you're better than your advisors, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, Sam. Again, you said here something very interesting, that the youths should stand up and do something. They did it last election. That's why I said after the election or first meeting here, I said that Barrow should be very careful this time with the youths, because they are the biggest proportion, and the women. They are the biggest voters for his presidency. So he should not play with the youths and the women. He should give them the chance because they voted for him. If you look at the results, can you remember that Sam? I said it
Yeah,
here.
you did.
And
Absolutely.
so that shows that the
Yep.
youths they went confidently with the hope that Barrow will give them the chance and the door and the future. So it's a big responsibility for the youth to have that belief in him. He should show that because the danger is
So if
always
that
when
belief is
they
not,
don't see
if that belief
anything.
is not believed,
Then we'll
if
see
that
that
belief is
in the
not
next
believed, what
election.
happens?
Yeah, then we'll see that in the next election. You understand? Because it happened here too.
Yeah.
So the people who believe in you and
But
vote
what
for
I
you
want to
will give
ask,
you a big job to do.
yeah, what I want to ask both of you is that, so that issue of being in diaspora, right? Are we willing to do what we do here to survive back home?
Yeah, I mean, if you ask any diaspora I know, he will tell you, I would like to go home one day. What I'm doing for
But
these people, I could do it.
are we willing what we do here, what we go through here in terms of hustling,
Struggle, man, you mean.
struggling, making things happen no matter what,
But why
working
not?
long hours,
Why not? Why
are
not?
we, are we
Because that's why I said before developing other people's countries, we could have developed ours. But
but we have
Sam said it here.
we have
You
to
are not
change
giving.
our, we
You are not given the chance even.
we have to change our attitudes then.
You are not even given the chance. If you go there, Mr. Sawana, you don't know anybody
Yeah.
in the tops, and you don't keep bribing your whole life. Nowhere. So that's where everything needs to change.
Yep.
And the
Yeah.
mentality.
And then that's why I'm saying that's the root of the
So my answer to that question is yes, if we have that avenue. Your question is, can we do what we do here and back home, right? In Gambia.
Yes.
The answer is yes, if we have the avenue. But you can't do it if you don't have the avenue. You've got to have the avenue first to be able to do it there. Yeah. What I'm doing here, I'll be more than happy to stay in Gambia and do it there, right? I can do that. You can do that. Alice can do that. Everybody can do it. But we've got to have the avenue to be able to do that. What you don't want to do is go to Gambia, migrate to Gambia with your whole family and have nothing to do. Can't even operate anything because you can't even have a permit. You can't have anything, or your time get wasted and wasted and wasted and wasted to a point where you give up. And because of corruption in the system, and you give up, and now you're stuck. You're stuck between a hard and rock, something like that. So we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You see that every day. For me, I have a very good friend, and I would say he's the best man I know in carpentry. He was working for one of the biggest carpentry industry there in Holland. He decided to go back home. He was there with the wife. He took the kids into school, so that is showing that this person wanted to stay there. But because of the conditions, corruption, what you all explaining, one day he just packed the whole family and go back to Holland. So he didn't do that just to play about. He had a problem.
I think that has to do with what Sam usually say. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. If you plan,
that's
you
it.
fail to
Everything
plan.
starts
That's
with
why I used to say that Gambia should be prepared for diasporas. Many countries are doing. If they come from diaspora, they have
the government that is not prepared for its own self. How can that be prepared for the diaspora? When people, I'm not surprised why diasporans are hired in this government. Because why? Guess what? The government itself doesn't have the capacity to even recruit talent and replace talent. And then more so, politics has embodied everything. before they even think about
That's it.
going outside the box.
Now you say where our problem is.
Yeah, our problem is politics has imported everything, and the space are limited. Look at this presidential election. How many people brought up a promise? How many parties? Were they all given jobs?
So, and that's our problem, because through
No,
that
they were
we
not
cannot.
all given jobs, and guess what happened? Some of them went to their respective parties to form, their own coalition, and then because they came for that ministry position, those positions, but it's limited, and Barrow has to look out for himself. Technically, he said, G, I have to hire the qualified one. I'm not gonna use politics this time to hire, and I think that was a smart move on his part. Maybe not on those other people's part. That's why some APRC members and some other, they went back to their camp and say, gee, we thought we were going to have this. Then they did not. So technically, Gambian people need to know a job is limited job in the government. Me, I understand that. Government jobs should be given to qualified people. And there are many qualified people in the Gambia. So the diasporans shouldn't be sitting down here, docoing behind this politician just to get a government job.
So the other part.
So what you should do is use your brain. We already traveled. We already have the capacity. We have a little bit of money. If we plan to go back, let's use our brain and then create. And then I agree with Sam. I agree with that. There are blockage and nonsense, but I'm saying that nonsense is the war for us to win, to fight. Once we conquer that, we can apply ourselves there and make it happen. Listen, if there's a will, there's a way. If we are willing to make it happen, we will find a way to make it happen. There's no excuse. There's no excuse in this planet. When you're willing to have this, you will do whatever it takes. Michael Jordan said that. You will do whatever it takes. Even if you're going to bring Dennis Rodman, who's going to spit on people to win championship, you will bring him. If you're going to bring Mike Tyson, who bites people ear in a boxing ring, you will bring him to win. So
yeah, but Mr. Sawane, don't make a mistake. Mr. Jordan is from America. And when we talk about the youth in the Gambia,
I'm just giving.
Because he can say that because America, you have the possibility only if you don't want, and in Gambia, it's something different for the youth. Most of them they want to, but there is no possibility.
It's
another wall.
I'm talking about us, the diaspora. If we want to make it happen, if there's a will, we'll make it happen.
Well, the easiest way for us to make it happen is to be able to vote. The moment we can vote, we can make change immediately.
Then we can change,
We can change things without question. But if you're deprived, that's why I said avenue. If you have the avenue, you can do certain things. But if they block that avenue and you can't vote, well, your voice is not going to be heard.
It's just like the diasporans are still in handcuff,
Exactly.
So you cannot do more.
I would say this too. I want to add this to your what you said. One of the comments you said. When it comes to politics and everything, politics is in everything, which is understandable. Every candidate wants to look for the right people, and sometimes they want to favor their party and bring the people that help them instead of looking for the right candidates. And when you're saying that, when you said that the president did some like that, I agree, and I'll give the president the kudos for making change in the government. I think the change is still not sufficient. It's not sufficient, and some change. Some people are put in the wrong places, wrong people. For example, no offense to anyone, I'm just saying what's in me. If I were the president, I would have picked Khalifa Saleh, made him Speaker of the House, rather than Fabakary Tombong Jatta. If I compare those two, who is going to be the best Speaker of the House?
That's why I said politics is also our problem.
Politics is going.
Politics, you don't look at
the right people,
qualified people.
Sometimes.
And when you don't look at qualified people,
Yeah.
that means you are not doing something for the development of the country.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why when
So-
he said politics, I said that's our biggest problem. If you
yeah.
want a
Yeah.
country, if you want a country like the whole world do,
Yeah.
you don't just go and pick any order, but you always try to use your best human resources to go forward because you want to go this way, not that way. You understand? So going that way, you need to have your best tools. It's just like going to war. You don't just go to war with empty-handed or just with a bag. You want to go with a gun and all necessary things you need. So ruling a country is like that. You want to bring, when we talk about development of a country, I don't talk about politics. That means you need to have every weapon, every tool, your best tools you can take out of Gambia to move the country forward. That is it. But when we talk about politics, I can take unqualified people just because they drum for me, or because I'm related to this person, or this person is my father's friend, or we are in the same religion. You know, that is what is setting Africa back, not only Gambia, but Africa in general back, because we consider unnecessary things. The most
Yeah.
important things we neglected and still want to go forward. How?
Yeah. This is,
Can you tell me?
yeah. That's why, when a president is selected, a president that really have this love his country, a president that wants to make a
Oh,
difference.
most of them love their country. That's why they're there.
Right. Well, there is a love of your country, and there's a real love for your country. A real love for your country is,
They just love power
that,
too much.
So you have different loves now.
I
read.
all right.
You have different loves now.
A president that can sacrifice for his own country, for example, when it comes to nomination, you already have your first 5 years, your first term. All right. If I were a president, I have my first term, and now I want to get into second term. I'm in business. I want something serious. I want to cut the nonsense. I'm going to get rid of all the nonsense people, even if they don't vote for me next time. I don't care. What I care about is I want to come in and set an example, make a difference in this country, set it up for success, put it on a path of success. Even if I lose the next election, I can get out. At that point, I'll say I've done my part. Now is the next president's turn to do his part. But if I want to look at for myself and not the country, I want to be there. Any president want to be there for the next term and then another term and then another term. They are looking after themselves. They're not looking for the country. You need to do the best thing for your country by getting yourself out. Do your best, serve your term, and get out. Allow someone else to come and do their part. Maybe they will do a better job than you. So that's what I look at. So that's why I said someone that everyone has a love for your country, yes, but there is a real love for your country where you look at things that are more for the country than for you. Yep.
Yeah, Sam, I think we have to wrap this now because they are peeping me already. I have to go to the next one.
Let's wrap it up.
This is a great conversation. So I hope our leaders are listening to this. But this is a great conversation. Yeah, Sam, your final words. And then
my final word here is just like we talked about youth development, youths, and everything about youths. Let's create a foundation for youths. Let's create something for them in their future. Let's allow youths, and I'm telling youths also, get involved in politics. Get involved in politics so you can shape your country. And getting involved in the politics, start with the grassroots politics. Talk to your National Assembly member at your place. Tell them to set foundations for the youths. Tell them to allow diaspora to vote. Tell them to do something. No matter what happens, diaspora need to vote because our voice matters. And we can help them on the ground make that change that is necessary for our country. So at the end of the day, it could be a win-win situation for our country and for our people. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Sam.
Your final word.
My final word, I'm just saying that,
Thank you.
As Sam said, but I cannot blame the youth, not now, because they have voted the president with the hope that their life will be easy. and they are watching. So unless Barrow failed them, then you can blame them. But right now, I think you have to give Barrow time to see till the next election where the youths are and where the women are, because they are the biggest majority who voted him with the hope that their life will be easy. That's why I said it here the first day after election that now Barrow has a big responsibility, because all these youths, all these women, they all voted him to be the president, their president. So, and that is a big responsibility. I hope the president will take that seriously and give the youths more chances. We discussed here a lot of good points. If I told that the Gambia government try to look on these and try to help the youths to that, it's going to be a process. You know, it can take time, but when the government plans it and start with it today, I think in the future will help the whole of Gambia. Even if Barrow don't complete it and come another president, but that is already being planted, then one can still thank Mr. Barrow for starting it. That's what the Europeans do also. Because you cannot be the president forever. You can only do your part, as some said, you know, and then the next will come. Don't try to sit there by all means, good or bad. Sometimes I used to say, why can't people just think like Obama or the president? And they're having their good life. But African presidents, that's where they give themselves problems always. They try to sit there without knowing that the danger is getting bigger. You know, that's why at the end they lose everything, and nobody likes that. Instead to say, okay, hello, I have some chicken, I can live with my family and run away. No,
You know,
they'll stay there till the death
greed.
come.
Greed. It's
They'll
called
stay there till the death come.
greed.
Yeah, or they'll stay there till the disgrace come. Things like that. But they never learn it.
It's the greed. The greed.
Yeah? You have very seldom African presidents who said, okay, I'm going and trying to enjoy their lives. You can count them with your fingers.
Yeah.
And they're having their life, peaceful life. But the others don't try to understand it. I mean, if they start some projects, you have to give them time to complete it. That is still an excuse, you know. So, but I'm just saying here that the president we have now, what Mr. Cisse was saying, the youths, they have voted already, you know, because that's the biggest amount of voters who voted the president at the moment. They are just waiting for the president to do something for them, and I hope that he would not fail them.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Alas. We're gonna close the program. This was a great discussion. We thank our viewers also.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Yeah, have a great
week.
See you guys.
Same to you.